Hey guys, and happy Thursday. We are on chapter 3, so get a seat and get ready. Another Something Wonderful is the title. So I want you to think, do you really think it's going to be wonderful, or do you think he might be thinking something bad's happening again? Let's see. Life at our house had definitely changed. Dad would come home at night with an armful of grocery bags and fix our dinner. The washing machine was always running. Every time Tootsie had a feeding and was burped, she'd spit up everywhere. She had to be changed about 6 times a day, and Fudge started wetting his pants again, and then his bed. Mom and Dad said he was just going through a phase, and that if we were patient with him, it would pass. I suggested putting him back in diapers, but nobody else thought that was a very good idea. One afternoon, Mom started to cry, right in front of me. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I'm just so tired," she said. "There's so much to do. Sometimes I think I won't be able to make it through the week." "That's what you get for having another baby," I told her. Do you think he's being very understanding? No, that wasn't very kind. That only made her cry harder. I don't like to see my mom cry. I feel so sorry for her. But at the same time, she makes me so mad. Grandma came over a few days a week to help, and Mom hired Libby Tubman to take care of Fudge after school. I stayed at Jimmy Fargo's until dinner time. Nobody seemed to miss me around the house anyways. By the middle of May, life had improved. Tootsie was sleeping 4 hours at a clip during the day and even longer at night. Dad and Mom were fixing dinner together, and Mom talked about going back to college to get a degree in art history, which really surprised me. Because before I was born, she worked as a dental assistant. "Why art history?" I asked. "Because it interests me," she said. "What about teeth? Aren't you interested in teeth anymore?" "Well, yes," Mom said, "but not as much as art history. I think I'm kind of ready for a change." Isn't having Tootsie enough of a change? "Yes, but someday she'll grow up and go to school, and I'll want to have a career." "Oh," I said. I'm not really sure I understood what she meant. On the last day of school, we had a class party with cupcakes and island punch, and I drank 8 cups of it. Island punch is my favorite drink. Mom says I'm addicted to it, and I tell her that's right. If you cut me open, you'll find 7 natural fruit flavors running through my veins. After drinking 8 cups in a row, and then walking home from school, and then waiting for the elevator, and then digging out my key and unlocking the door to our apartment, then dashing down the hall to the bathroom, I really had to go to the restroom. I really had to go. I couldn't hold it another second. But Fudge was already in there, sitting there, turning the page to Arthur the Anteater. "Hurry up," I told him. "I've got to go in there." "It's not good for me to hurry," Fudge said. So I ran to Mom's room, but the door to her bathroom was locked. I called and called and called, and nobody answered. What is going around here? So I ran back to the bathroom, but Fudge hadn't moved. "Come on," I said. "You're just reading that book. This is an emergency. I drank 8 cups of island punch this afternoon at my classroom party. I drank 2 glasses of chocolate milk. How about getting out of here for just a minute?" "It wouldn't be good for me," he said. "Come on, Fudge." "I can't think when you're in here," he said. "What do you have to think about?" I could have just lifted him out of that bathroom, but I knew I would get in so much trouble. So I ran down the hall again, thinking, Tootsie has it easy. She just has to sit there all the time, and it doesn't matter what she needs. People just come running when she needs something. Then I remembered my teacher had read us a book about life in England in the 18th century. I wished I had an old chamber that I could get handy in desperate needs like this. I ran to the living room looking around, and we had a big plant over in the corner. Should I wondered? No, that's disgusting. I thought. But when you've got to go, you got to go. That's disgusting, I thought. Finally, Fudge is out of the restroom and he's done with this book. But he still wanted to be in there. Get out of here! Okay, fine. I want you to think about your little siblings or even your older siblings. And do y'all do things to kind of pester each other? I want you to think about that. That night, we were all sitting around in the living room watching TV, and I was holding Tootsie on my lap. She let out a soft little sigh. She's a lot like Turtle when he's asleep. I can tell what kind of dream he's having by the noises he makes. And sometimes when he's having a nightmare, he cries out and shakes, and then I pet him until he calms down again. It's the same with Tootsie. She'll be fast asleep, but she'll make these little noises or cry out and wiggle around. Other times, she'll work her mouth just like she's sucking on her bottle. I guess she dreams about eating a lot, but the little sighs are my favorite because then I know she's content and she feels so warm and soft lying in my arms that way, and I feel good all over. So it sounds like he's starting to warm up to her a little bit. As soon as the show was over, Dad snapped off the TV, turned faced us and said, "We have some really great news for you, boys." "Oh, no, not again," I said, looking down at Tootsie. Mom and Dad laughed. "Something different this time," Dad said. "Is it interesting?" Fudge asked, racing his little cars across the floor. "Vroom, vroom, vroom." "Yes, very interesting," Mom said. "Well, don't keep us in suspense," I said. "Let's hear it." "Is suspense like privilege?" Fudge asked. "No," I told him. "Now listen." I looked at my dad. "Well?" I asked. Because their idea of something interesting and my idea of something interesting aren't necessarily always the same. "We're moving to Princeton," Dad said. "We're what?" I wanted to jump up, but I couldn't. Not with Tootsie in my lap. "Is Princeton near the park?" Fudge asked, running his little red cars up and down Mom's leg. "No," I said, "it's in New Jersey." "Is New Jersey near the park?" he asked. "Not Central Park," Mom asked. "But you won't need Central Park," Dad said, "because you'll have your own backyard." "What's a backyard?" Fudge asked. "It's like a small park," Mom told him. "My own park?" "More or less," Dad said. "What about art history?" I said to Mom. "What about it?" she answered. "I thought you were going to school to study art history. Princeton University has an art history department, and I may take classes there." "It's just for a year," Dad said, looking at me to see how we like being away from the city. "Away, away, away," Fudge sang. You can't have a conversation in front of him. It's useless. Couldn't my mother and father see that? "We're going next week," Dad said. "What about Maine?" I asked. "We always go to Maine for 2 weeks in the summer." "M-A-I-N-E spells Maine," Fudge sang. "M-A-I-N-E spells Maine." "How does he know how to spell Maine?" Mom asked Dad. "I have no idea," Dad said. "So what about it? Are we going to Maine?" "We're going to Princeton instead, Dad told me. Instead, Fudge said. "Would you stop?" I yelled at him, and then I was just as loud. "I hate Princeton." "You've never even been there," Mom said. "Oh, yes, I have. We went to visit some friends of yours, and they served us this disgusting dinner, shrimp and mushrooms and spinach all mixed together, and I was hungry, but they wouldn't give me anything else to eat, not even an extra piece of bread. I remember." "Oh, that's right," Mom said. "I'd forgotten all about that day at Millie and George's house. You forget everything that's important. Look," Peter, Dad said. "We were hoping you'd be pleased about Princeton. We've already rented a house there. In fact, we rented Millie and George's house. They're going to Europe for the year." "That old dump?" "It's not a dump. It's a beautiful old place, and we've arranged to sublease our apartment. So I'd like you to keep an open mind about this." "Open, open, open," Fudge sang. You should have told me before, just like you should have told me about Tootsie as soon as you knew. You never tell me anything. And here, I said, shoving Tootsie to Dad, why don't you hold your own baby yourself? Because I have things to do. I got up and marched across the living room, kicking a couple of Fudge's cars as I went. He's not very happy about moving, is he? But do you think his reaction's appropriate in how he's talking to his parents? Let's think about how he should react and maybe have a good conversation. By the time I got to my room, he was crying. Good, I thought. And then Tootsie started. Better yet. And then Turtle began to bark. Let them suffer. I slammed my bedroom door and my map wound up on my bed again. I guess I fell asleep in my clothes because the next thing I knew, Mom was shaking and saying, come on, Peter. Get under the covers. It's late. Too hot for covers, I mumbled. Okay, if you want to sleep in your clothes tonight, you can. But at least take off your sneakers. I like them where they are, I said. Okay, if you want to sleep in sneakers, just for tonight. Maybe every night. Mom ignored that. Peter? About Princeton, she began. I held up my hand. I don't want to talk about it. You don't have to talk, just listen. I'm too tired to listen. All right, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Anyway, nothing I can do about it, just like Tootsie. Nothing I can do about her either. But you don't mind her now, do you? I'm getting used to her, I guess. And you'll get used to Princeton. You'll see. Then she started telling me about where I'd go to school, but I was still half asleep and not really listening until she said something like, having your little brother in the same school. And I sat up, suddenly wide awake. What did you say? About what? Just now. About Fudge in school. Oh, we've had him tested, and even though he's a little young, we're going to be able to enroll him in kindergarten. After all, he's had a full year of preschool, and you know he can count by tens and recite the alphabet, and he knows his months and days, the week and colors, and he can even spell Maine. Yeah, I said. We all know the kid's a genius. But you said something else about him going to the same school as me. That's right. You'll be in 6th grade and he'll be in kindergarten. Won't that be fun? Fun? That did it. I jumped off the bed and grabbed my Adidas bag. You think it's fun to go to a new school? I don't even know anybody there. And I definitely don't want to go to school with that little monster. You don't understand anything, do you? I opened my dresser drawers and dumped my clothes into the bag. This time, I'm really leaving. So it seems like every time he gets upset about something, he just wants to run away from it. Peter, honey, Mom said, you can't run away every time you hear something you think you don't like. I don't think, I know. Even so, running away doesn't solve anything. Maybe not for you, but it does for me. I tossed in my baseball glove, my favorite jeans, half of my Mad magazines, a few of my smaller maps, and a couple of tapes. Shall I make you a peanut butter sandwich to take along, Mom asked. Don't give me any of that little boy stuff, I told her, because I mean it. I'm leaving. She stopped smiling. I can understand how you feel, but Daddy and I thought, Daddy and you don't think the same way as me. I'm beginning to see that. And if you cared about me at all, even just a little, you wouldn't have done this. You wouldn't have. Peter, we care about you a lot. That's one of the reasons we're moving to Princeton. And we didn't even get to tell you the really big news. Oh, there's more? I said, well, I can't wait to hear this. Dad is taking this year off. I stopped packing. He quit his job at the agency? No. He has been fired. No? Then what? He's taking a leave of absence. Wait. He wants to tell you himself. She went to the door and called Warren. Warren, can you come here for a minute? I'm changing Tootsie, Dad called back. Be there in just a minute. I thought Dad never changed a diaper in his whole life. He didn't. Not until Tootsie came along. What's so special about changing your diapers, I asked. Nothing. There's nothing special about it. He's so busy changing Tootsie, he hasn't gotten any time for anybody else. Peter, that's not fair, Mom said. What do you know about fair anyways? Dad came into my room smelling like a baby. I told Peter you had a surprise for him, Mom said. I'm taking the year off, Dad said. And that way I'll have more time to spend with the family because I'll be working at home. I'm going to write a book. A book? I said. That's right, on the history of advertising and its effect on the American people. Couldn't you write something a little more interesting, I asked, like a book about a kid who runs away because his parents decide to move without asking him first? Sounds like a good story, Dad said. Maybe you should write it yourself. Maybe I will, I said. And I'd like to know how we're going to eat, with you not working. We've got some money saved up, and I'll probably get an advance for writing this book. Give it a chance, Peter, Mom said. I'll think about it, I told her. But if I'm gone in the morning, don't be surprised. And then, from the other room, we could hear Fudge singing to himself to sleep. M-A-I-N-E spells Maine, M-A-I-N-E spells Maine, F-U-D-G-E spells Fudge, P-E-T-E-R spells PETA. Will you listen to that, I said. The kid should be a big hit in kindergarten. So today's activity, what I want you to do is think about how would you describe how Peter's feeling, but I need some text evidence. So I want you to think about whatever you say, how he's feeling about the new decision, and what happened in the book to make him feel that way. Okay, so I will be back for chapter 4. It's called Off the Wall. Have a great day.